EcoVeganGal.com and welcome back to another Q&A. Thank you so much for being here today. As usual, I have a few quick announcements and some instructions for anyone who may be listening live, watching live, or listening or watching to the recording, just to make sure that we are all on the same page. So these happen every Saturday afternoon. The time usually ranges, I'm averaging around 2 p.m. Pacific time in California, so I love having people tune in live. And the great thing is that you can ask your questions live. The way these work is I have some older questions that have been added into a form that I've had up for years, and then I also take live questions towards the end. So today I have 4 questions already prepared, and then I'll jump in to hear from anyone who is watching live. And the way to ask your questions are, if you are watching live, you should ask them over at Google+. So if you go to google.com/+symbol EcoVeganGal, you can ask your questions right there. You can apparently use this on a mobile device, I was told, so you can watch on your computer or on the mobile device through Google Plus and ask your questions there. And there's also a great new feature which allows you to see links that I'm talking about. I have a few prepared today that I can show you. If you're watching or listening to the recording, you can ask your questions using the bit.ly link, which is in the description, and it's bit.ly/EVGWeeklyQA, and you enter in your questions. You can ask them anytime, and I will get to them as soon as possible. There's also a really great way to ask questions, and that is through a free feature called SpeakPipe, which allows you to record a voice message of yourself, which I think is amazing. I have one to play today and a couple more for the future, and it's amazing. Not only do I get to hear your voice, but other people get to hear your voice if you give me permission to play it, and it's a neat way to connect and on a whole new level and hear the questions. Also, for anybody who is watching or listening to the recording, these are about an hour long, and you can skip forward through the timestamps in the description field, so you don't have to watch the entire thing if you don't have time, or listen to it, whichever. And speaking of listening, I put these recordings up on SoundCloud, so if you prefer to listen to them, you can actually do that all through audio podcast style. You can play it on a mobile device. People like to listen while they're driving, cooking, exercising, relaxing, whatever it is. So I think that's really neat. Lastly, these Q&As are not just about me answering the questions, it's about us coming together as a community. My goal here is to be a support system for you, to inspire you, to educate you, and to empower you. And we're in this together, so I want you to feel comfortable reaching out and chiming in. So if you are watching live, please chime in on Google+. I will read your questions out loud, and other people will be able to see those. Those questions will also live on Google+, I believe. It depends where you enter them in. Google Plus is a little confusing sometimes. And during the record, or after it's been recorded, you can chime in on YouTube and SoundCloud. The only thing I ask is 2 things, actually. One is that you're respectful of me and anyone else. I do not tolerate bullies, so if you say anything cruel or you know, the wording isn't very considerate, I will be deleting it and perhaps banning it, because I do not want any of that negativity. There's too much in this world, and we don't need it there on YouTube, and I think it's gone rampant on YouTube as it is. So be considerate, otherwise the comment won't be there. But most of you are very considerate, and I appreciate it. And I also encourage people to think about what they say before they write it. Even if you have good intentions, sometimes our words can come across a little bit harsh, especially if you're responding to someone else. I try to encourage people to stay away from the words like should and any like all caps or things like that. Just be considerate. But on that note, most of you are so wonderful about this, and you can chime in, help answer questions, start a conversation going. It's really meant to be a safe, positive place for you, and that's why I don't tolerate any of the negativity there. And next up is, please don't ask any questions on YouTube. The questions, as I mentioned, should be asked live on Google Plus or through that bit.ly link that I mentioned. All right? Okay, so that's the details for how these Q&As work, and welcome to anybody who is watching or listening for the first time. I hope that you enjoy this today. I will have a few announcements, as I do every week, and I like to mention at least one great food product that I've been trying recently. And today I want to tell you about GoodBelly's Probiotic Coconut Water. I love this for many reasons. GoodBelly is a really great company. They're all vegan and they make probiotics. So they make a few in these quart containers, and they also make these little small guys, and they're kind of like yogurty type shots that you take, and they're all about probiotics. And I love this because out of all of their line, I find that this one to be the cleanest. It's the simplest, and I love coconut water. So adding probiotics with coconut water is a major plus for me there. Let's see what else we can learn. It's non-GMO verified, which is wonderful, and it's also gluten-free. They have several gluten-free options, so you can check and see if that is the case with that. I would also encourage you to check out any GoodBelly products just to see if you're okay with a type of sweetener. I think that they might use cane sugar in some of their other products, which is a reason why I love this. As far as taste goes, it tastes like yogurt and coconut water combined. It's got that fermented, probiotic-rich, yogurty flavor plus the great fresh flavor of coconut water. So if you like coconut water and you want to add more probiotics into your diet, this is great for that. And the good news is that GoodBelly is running a contest right now. They've partnered with So Delicious, who makes fantastic dairy-free products, and they're doing a recipe contest. So if you get the products, you can come up with a great recipe, and they'll be choosing winners to receive free products from both GoodBelly and So Delicious, and I believe that anybody that enters will be able to get a discount on their products. I will include a link in the description field for more details if you want to learn about this, and I encourage you to check out their products, including this delicious coconut water. Moving on from that, what else do we have? Well, I have a giveaway going on. Speaking of freebies, I think I mentioned this in the last Q&A as a teaser, and there's a video up on the Eco Vegan Gal YouTube channel, and there's a post up at ecovegangal.com all about the Canopy Verde giveaway. So you can see in the background my lovely purse. If you check out the video, you can learn all about this incredible eco-vegan handbag that I have. It's made from organic cotton, and it has vegan leather accents. And Canopy Verde is offering 15% off any of their products, and they have a lot to choose from, and this is for anybody, I believe, around the world. Now, for people in the U.S., you can enter to win one of their clutches, which looks almost exactly like this, except it's smaller. It's got the same fabric and the same leather accents, which is like a grayish, purplish color and purple leather accents. Really pretty. The clutch is fabulous, and I'm so excited to give this away. So go check that out. The link will be in the description field, so you can run over to Eco Vegan Gal right now and check it out and enter. It's super easy to enter. And last, I want to give you a little preview of something that's going to come in an upcoming Q&A video. Yesterday, I got some really great shoes, and I don't like to really talk about products until I've had time to really experience them, but I'm so excited about these shoes that I had to tell you right now. I just love these. These are gorgeous faux suede with, I think, a wooden bottom. They're made in Portugal, and I hope I don't whoa, my mouth got so dry. Maybe I'm so excited. I'm going to have some of this coconut water to clear my throat. And that, I promise that was that was not planned. Hold on one sec. Now you can kind of see the color of this. Okay, so I'm afraid that I'm going to botch the name, but I believe that you pronounce it Bourgeois Boheme, or you can just call it Bobo. It's true, they call it that. So this company is a eco-vegan shoe line, and these shoes, oh my gosh, I was so nervous. They shipped them from the UK, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, what if I ordered the wrong size? I'm going to get these and be so excited they're not going to fit. They fit perfectly, and they are so comfortable. I can't wait to wear them. In fact, I'm going out later tonight, and I want to make my whole outfit all about these shoes. So let me tell you a little bit about them, and then I'm going to do like a full-on review for you once I've tried them and experienced them, beyond just trying them on yesterday. So they're actually made in, UK, London, and they're an ethical footwear brand for men and women. So men, you can get them they're all gorgeous. They're very classic. They've got a sustainable style with a contemporary twist, and they're designed for the stylish, the fun, the responsible. I love that. Their collections are always vegan, ethical, eco-friendly, and made in Portugal using the finest faux leather and natural materials. And I just adore them. So I'm so excited, and I can't wait to tell you more once I've experienced them. But I know many of you are looking for fashion, so I've got 2 fashion items to talk about today that are eco-vegan and made from great companies. So, and these are on sale. I think they were like $40 or $50 off. So I will put more details about this soon. Okay, those are my quick announcements. Let's jump into the questions. And for anybody that's new, I will take those questions through Google+, which is, again, google.com/+EcoVeganGal, or you can just look for the EcoVeganGal page on Google+ through your mobile app, and then click on the link for the live Q&A today to ask your question. But I'm going to start off with 4 prepared questions. So I love this question. This really made me laugh. So Danielle asked, I'm new to veganism. I made the plunge yesterday, actually. Awesome, Danielle. Congratulations. By this point, you're a few days in, so welcome to the vegan world. And continuing it. So I'm basically freshly new, right? Anyways, I guess I'm curious how to incorporate cheeses that don't taste like poop. I've tried, and I'm going to leave out the name of the company because I don't want to bosh them, but she tried this certain brand, and it was just awful. Just awful. Made me laugh. Okay. I have a 17-month-old who loves mac and cheese. I don't want to traumatize him by trying to substitute the dirt cheese for the real cheese. I want this to be a transition my husband and son can fall in love with. I know that this will be a good move for my body. I want to eat healthy, live healthy, and do what I can to be the best I can be. What kind of tips can you provide for making the vegan transition easy and also finding good substitutes for cheese? Well, thank you for asking, Danielle, and thank you for making me laugh. I love your bluntness there, and trust me, I can relate. When I first went vegan, I was astonished and devastated at the vegan choices, but that was 10 years ago. That was almost 10 years ago. So things were vastly different back then. There was barely anything. So trust me, you are in a much easier time than I was 10 years ago. But I also understand, because here's the thing. So dairy is very addictive. It's made to be addictive. It has opiate-like compounds. What's the word I'm looking for? Opiate-like aspects of it. We'll just say it that way. And that makes it addictive. And it's made to be addictive because dairy cows want their babies to drink enough of the milk so that they can grow strong. And what happens when humans eat dairy products, the same thing happens. So especially with cheeses. People always say, I can't give up cheese. I love cheese so much. I could never go vegan because I don't want to give up the cheese. And it's like a actual reason why it's so hard. It's not just like laziness. It just takes some time to transition, and it can take as quick as a few weeks to maybe a few months. And it's definitely going to help if you have something to go to. So we are very, very fortunate right now to have so many options, and I'm going to tell you those in a moment. I also want to encourage you to just try finding alternatives to cheese, right? Maybe we're dependent on cheeses and other products because they are just part of the standard American diet or the standard, diet for a lot of different people around the world. And we just kind of eat the foods because that's what we've been eating. That's what's at the restaurants. That's what people make for us. And cheese is just something that we can throw on foods and make them taste delicious, right? We look at pizzas and pastas and sandwiches, and especially as a vegan, you look at it from a different perspective and you think like, wow, a lot of things have cheese on them. There's cheese snacks and cheese popcorn and on, right? So we're used to eating a lot of cheese. I would encourage you, especially as a new vegan, to just broaden your horizons and look for ways that don't require cheese, right? There's so many other options out there. Hummus is great. For example, because it gives you that creamy texture, it's very satisfying and filling, and you can even put it on things like pizza. You can get really creative with hummus. You can make grilled cheese alternatives with hummus. But fortunately for you, you don't have to go without cheese because there is an abundance of vegan cheese out there, and I don't believe Danielle told me where she lives, so it might depend, but luckily a lot of these cheeses are available all across the United States and in many parts of the world. And I happen to have a full-on, let me open this up here, a full link to what I call the ultimate guide to vegan cheese alternatives. And for anybody watching live on Google+, I'm going to put it up on what we call the showcase there. So all of you watching live can check this out right now if you have yet to see it. I'm going to read off some of my top favorite cheeses. I wrote this a while ago, and because of Danielle's question, I decided to update it. So now it is updated with a bunch of cheeses that have come out, and I don't think I even got them all. So number one, I think Daiya is phenomenal. It's soy-free and it's gluten-free. It melts. You can basically use it exactly like you would with dairy-based cheeses. And it's amazing on pizza. It's incredible in grilled cheese, and it's really great in the mac and cheese. In fact, if you click on that link that I have, the ultimate guide to vegan cheeses, I have a recipe for pizza, macaroni and cheese, and quesadilla. I have a couple macaroni and cheese recipes that I've experimented with over the years, and they can be so phenomenal. Speaking of which, you can make your own. Cashew cheese is super easy to make. And I also have a link on this page for a mac and cheese made from cashews, and a little bit of nutritional yeast and lemon and garlic, I think, and so simple. You just throw it all in the blender, and you've got this incredible creamy sauce that's great for mac and cheese. And then there are a ton of products made from cashews. So a little downside to Daiya is that they have oil. It has oil in them, and some people are cutting back on oil or don't want oil at all, and that's where things like cashew cheese come in. And luckily, we have so many options that are also raw. So Daiya's not raw, but a cashew cheese can easily be raw or tends to be raw. Some of my favorite cashew cheeses are Punk Rock Labs. Oh, it's really decadent. All of their products, though, are, I think, $10 or over, so they're on the pricey side. But a little bit goes a long way, and it's such a great treat. There's also Dr. Cow, Nary Dairy, Parmala. All of them make really great cashew cheeses and have different prices. I think Dr. Cow may be around the same price as Punk Rock Labs, and both of them are a little challenging to find. Nary Dairy is based in Los Angeles area, and Parmala, I think, is the one that would be a little bit more widely available. Another brand that I found all across the United States in Whole Foods is called We Can't Say It's Cheese. It's also soy-free and gluten-free, and they're made from oats. Really delicious spreads. They have one that's a hickory smoked cheddar, and it's really good. Oh, yes, so I haven't had that in a while, but it is really amazing. There's also Heidi Ho, which is made from hazelnuts, and they have sauces like nacho sauces. They have feta like crumbles. They have a goat cheese alternative, a Gouda, a Monterey Jack. Really, really wonderful. And there are a bunch of others. The last one I want to mention is Teas. I love Teas. They're such a great company, and they have one that's for nachos. And let me tell you, they make phenomenal nachos. I have a link to Jason Robel's nacho recipe on this post. So go check that out. Check out Jason's recipe for a mind-blowing nacho dish. And I think Jason's watching, so props to you, Jason. Thank you for making that. I actually was filming the video that he made on the nachos, and as soon as we were done, I think I ate like half of the plate, and it was like this massive plate of nachos. So I hope that helps, Danielle. I know that it can be tricky transitioning, but trust me, with all the alternatives, it'll be a breeze for you. Just experiment. I know you didn't have a great experience with that one cheese, but there are so many others as listed. Try making your own. I do want to say that last night I actually made mac and cheese, and I used sunflower seeds instead of cashews, and you can just swap them out. So cashews, sunflower seeds, same recipe as listed on the site, and I think I'm going to post that up as well because it worked really well and it was nut-free. So just a ton of options for you out there. And in terms of ways to transition to vegan, that's all about what these Q&As are talking about every week. So tune in. You have the support system of not only me, but everybody else watching and chiming in as I discuss. So you have so many resources, and I will continue to provide resources via YouTube and ecovegangal.com. Moving on there, I have two questions about soy. So Brianne asked, what is your view on soy, such as tofu, soy milk, and soy cheeses? I am a new vegan, and I've heard a lot about the negative effects of too much soy, like hormonal disruption and miscarriages in women. Lacey said, my husband and I are on the journey to turning vegan. However, I've come across some things about soy having some pretty bad effects on men in terms of testosterone, libido, and other things. Soy is one of the main ingredients in vegan food, and I'm scared to make things with this on a regular basis. Help. Well, this is a great question and something that keeps coming up. I've actually been almost entirely soy-free for 4 years now, and people always ask me, how are you vegan without eating soy? And honestly, it's really easy. Because soy has been a health concern for some people and an allergy for other people and just not a preference for some other people, it's become more and more convenient to skip soy on the vegan diet. I just mentioned all those cheeses. Most of those cheeses are soy-free, so it's really easy to avoid in that sense. So Delicious is a company that makes almost entirely soy-free. I don't even know if they have soy anymore. Their company used to be called Soy Delicious, and then they changed it to So Delicious, maybe for this reason. So most of their products are made from coconuts and almonds, and they're a great company for dairy alternatives. For meat alternatives, there are so many burgers out there that are vegan, gluten-free and soy-free, or just soy-free. There is seitan, which is a wheat meat. That is a really wonderful alternative if you're not sensitive to gluten. There's just tons and tons of options, and if you go to Eco Vegan Gal, you will find pretty much everything on the site is soy-free as well as gluten-free. And every once in a while, I'll make exceptions if I want to try something. And it's great if you're not allergic to soy and maybe you're just sensitive or just don't like it. For me, I say avoid it for the most part, and then have it when you really want it, or have it in moderation. So here are a few bullet points for you. Most health people and most of the research that I've read about these kind of hormonal side effects and fear tactics, a couple things have come up. One is that a lot of the research that was pushed out to the mainstream was actually pretty biased. I'm not maybe 100%, but a lot of it was backed by companies that were against soy. So these could be dairy companies, these could be meat companies trying to scare people into avoiding soy. So you always have to make sure that you see where the research is coming from. And when I've read from health experts that I really trust, most health experts in the vegan world promote soy, and there's soy galore in a lot of these great books out there. You know, a lot of the vegan doctors promote soy and healthy soy, right? So when I say healthy soy, I mean soy that is non-GMO. That's a huge issue right now. A lot of the soy in our country is GMO, and that's another reason why people choose to avoid soy, because they're nervous about it. But you can find non-GMO verified soy. You can also find certified organic soy, which would also mean that it was GMO free. So organic and non-GMO to me are very, very important when it comes to eating it. But most of these people, most of these health experts that I've read about, like who was I reading from? Juliana Hever recently, Chris Carr. Who else had a good article on this? Alicia Silverstone in the Kind Diet. They all kind of agreed that soy should be had in moderation as well as organic and non-GMO. So soy has a lot of health benefits. It is very high in protein, for example, and I don't remember the others from off the top of my head because soy is not a huge part in my world. But what you want to avoid in addition to the genetically modified soy is also ultra-processed soy. Soy is in a lot of vegan processed products, so burgers and all sorts of meat alternatives and dairy products out there. I just say go for the really clean products that don't have a ton of ingredients, and if they are using soy, buy the products that are using organic, GMO-free soy. Soy can also be heavily sprayed. That can be another concern, like the pesticides and all that, another reason to get organic. When you're looking for soy, the top types I recommend would be organic tofu. There's some great organic tofu brands out there. Organic edamame. I used to love this when I first went vegan until I discovered my soy sensitivity. I used to eat edamame all the time. You can buy it frozen and just boil it in some water. It's a phenomenal snack. Tempeh. I still have tempeh from time to time. It's a fermented soy, so it's easier on the digestive system, and it has natural probiotics in it. It's really delicious. You can make tempeh bacons, tempeh sandwiches. You can cube it up, put it all sorts of dishes, and that's very commonly found organic and actually pretty expensive. Places like Trader Joe's sell it for like $2, and you can make a great meal out of it. Organic miso. Miso is another fermented soy, and it's delicious in sauces, miso soup. There's lots of ways you can get creative with miso, and it's just got this wonderful flavor. I will note that I prefer chickpea miso, which is soy-free. A lot of people don't realize that you can get soy-free miso. And lastly, one of my favorite forms of soy when I really make an exception is for natto. And natto is this really interesting, very gross looking soy that's very sticky and brown, and it looks like something you never want to eat, but I love it. It's got all sorts of great vitamins in it. It's very healthy, and it's meant to have in small portions. And speaking of small portions, I believe it was Chris Carr who pointed out that people in Asian countries have been using soy for years and years and years and thriving off of it, but you know, they are not eating these massive portions that we often eat in the standard American diet. They're having condiment size soy. So very small amounts of miso, small amounts of natto, maybe that organic handmade tofu and the tempeh and all of that. We also have to look at how much we're eating per portion, not just how frequently we eat it, but how much we're having at once. And until I went soy-free, I was eating soy constantly in big portions. I remember right before I went soy-free, I went to Maui in Hawaii, and like it was so easy to find soy. It was soy everywhere, and that was like what I ate because that was the easiest thing to find vegan there. And they would serve me like these huge chunks of tofu, like basically the size you would buy in a store. That's what they would serve me for dinner. And I was eating so much soy for like 5 days straight there, right? Of course it's not going to make me feel good, and that's not really great for my health, but we're eating small portions, maybe just a little bit. Even though I have digestive issues with soy, I'm still able to tolerate soy in small amounts, and it comes back to that whole idea of having things in moderation and how our body responds to it. I love that question, though. I also have a whole video on this, and I'll put it, no, I'm going to put it in the description because I don't want to distract anyone watching. But there's a whole video about why I don't eat soy, which I recorded like 2.5 years ago, and it gives you more details about why I chose not to eat it. Okay, now we have a question that came in through SpeakPipe. I'm excited about this. This one comes from Jessica in Alaska. So thank you for asking, Jessica. Let me turn up the iPad and play it for all of you to hear.
Hi, Whitney. This is Jessica in Alaska. I love my green and black teas, and I was wondering if you had any eco-vegan methods to help get my teeth a little whiter. Thanks for your help.
How cool is that? Come on now. I want more of you to ask questions via SpeakPipe. It's so neat to hear your voice. So thank you, Jessica, for asking. So I love this question, too. Did you know that I think like millions of Americans are whitening their teeth? In fact, they spend $1.4 billion on over-the-counter whitening products every year, right? It's nuts how big teeth whitening products are. And I used to use these too. I used to get the little plastic things that you put in your teeth. And I was in high school, and I thought that that's what I had to do to look pretty. And they would hurt my teeth, and they were wasteful, and they were awkward, and it's a nightmare. I haven't thought about whitening my teeth in so long. I think my teeth are fine, right? I think it's funny how concerned we are about this. Whitening products can cause all sorts of issues like tooth sensitivity and gum irritation. So the average whitening product out there is no bueno. You don't want that. However, it is true that when we eat certain foods, like Jessica mentioned, like teas, they can stain our teeth. Black teas are going right past our teeth when we drink them if we're not using a straw. So one person said, if you can stain your shirt, it can stain your teeth. And this is true with coffee, teas, tomatoes even, What else is on the list? A lot of different products can stain our teeth. Number one, my dentist always says just use a straw. And using a straw when you're drinking certain things won't quite work when it's hot, but cold drinks, right? This can not only prevent it from darkening our teeth, but also from affecting our enamel. And things, this is an off note, but my dentist has also recommended drinking citrus-flavored water, like lemon water, lime water, etc., through a straw, because that is very acidic and can hurt our teeth. So a straw is a great thing all around, and I highly recommend reusable straws made from things like glass and stainless steel, even wood if you want. The number one thing when you're trying to avoid things that you can't drink through a straw, if it's hot or if it's a food, you can just brush your teeth right away. That would be the simplest, most natural way, or one of the most natural ways to avoid stains. But it's rare that somebody's going to want to brush their teeth after every single meal, especially if you're eating out. So here are a few really cool tips that I found that can help you out. Crunchy vegetables such as raw celery and carrots and crispy fruits like apples and pears are naturally abrasive, which means that they polish our teeth and remove stains from our teeth enamel. So that's so great. If you're eating lots of fresh raw food, perfect. That's going to naturally help your teeth. And it's like just as nature intended, right? That is like nature's beauty secret right there. I love that. And also, our saliva has compounds called surfactants, as well as enzymes that give it detergent properties. So when we're chewing a lot of food, when we're creating a lot of saliva in our mouth, that can naturally keep our teeth white. So to me, that's like an awesome tip right there. Just eat more fresh fruits and vegetables like celery, carrots, apples, and pears. Another thing I found that is great for whitening teeth is strawberries. Apparently the vitamin C in strawberries will help whisk away the plaque buildup, and the malic acid is a natural astringent in the berries that can help remove surface stains on teeth. Some people actually just mash up strawberries and rub them into their teeth, let it sit there for a little while, and then swallow it. So that's really cool. Apparently some celebrities are doing this, like Tyra Banks and Catherine Zeta-Jones I was reading about, so it's a little trendy too. But again, another reason to eat some fresh fruits, and that just sounds delicious. Another really easy way to clean your teeth and a little bit more common is baking soda. Baking soda is in a lot of toothpaste, and you can make your own by mixing baking soda and lemon juice into a paste and brushing it onto your teeth with a toothbrush, waiting a minute, and then brush thoroughly to remove it. However, it can damage your teeth if you're not careful. Baking soda is very strong, and as I mentioned, lemon can be harmful to your enamel, so I would say if you're going to do this, do it very infrequently. And I would check with your dentist to make sure that this is okay for you. You also don't want to let it sit in your teeth for more than 1 minute at a time. You can also do something called oil pulling, and because the lauric acid in coconut oil, which is commonly used for oil pulling, can rid your teeth of bacteria, which is found in plaque and thus makes your teeth yellow. And it also promotes gum health, keeps your breath fresh, and all you have to do is put a spoonful of coconut oil in your mouth and swish it around in your teeth for 5 to 10 minutes. I've heard a lot of people doing this. I need to try this out. I've been hearing so much. I've talked to my dentist about it, and she kind of was on the fence. She said that there was nothing wrong with it, but she didn't think that it was insanely necessary. So I guess I didn't feel like I had to rush out and do it, but people talk about it all the time in the health world. So now that I know that it can also keep your teeth white, I will try oil pulling as well. You can also brush your teeth with apple cider vinegar and then just brush again with regular toothpaste. Apple cider vinegar has lots of health benefits to it, so if you have it in your kitchen, just put it a little in, rinse, and then brush your teeth. Okay, the last thing I'll say is there are certainly some products out there that you can get. There's one company called VitaCare that makes a natural teeth whitening paste out there if you're really concerned. And I also just posted up a review written from one of the Eco Vegan Gal team members, and I'll put this up in the showcase for Google Plus for those of you watching live to check out. And it's from a company called Desert Essence, and they have some really natural, super clean dental products. They have mouthwashes, and they have toothpaste, and Courtney, who did the review, said that they helped whiten her teeth. So that was a good plus, and you can check that out. I just posted that today. All right, the last question that I will answer is a really deep one. So I'm going to spend some time on this one, and then I will jump into any live questions. So just a reminder, anyone watching live, if you have questions you want to ask, you can ask them at google.com/+ecovegangal. Go click on the event link, and then you can ask your questions through the little Q&A, and I'll get to them live. But I really wanted to spend some time on this amazing question that I received. And I'm going to keep this anonymous because it is such a personal, sensitive subject. So this came from a 16-year-old, and she has been vegan as of 2 months ago and said, I was vegetarian for a while before. I want to lose weight because I've been unhappy with the way I look. I had stopped eating for about a month and lost weight until my parents realized I wasn't eating enough. They made me eat, and I have a hard time wanting to eat because I feel disgusted, and I try to love my body because it's unique. But I have more fallout days than good days. Is there anything that will allow me to eat healthy and still lose weight? Yes, and I have lots of resources for you. But before I get into this, I want to say to everyone watching and to this wonderful lady who asked this question that I completely understand where you're coming from. When I was 16, I was very uncomfortable with my body, and I had a little bit of an eating disorder, which I've talked about, and I'll put links to this as well. In fact, I'll put one up right now for people to check out and bookmark if they want, it's a video that I recorded a few years ago and a post that I wrote about my experience and kind of where I was at before I was vegan. And, you know, I did binging and purging. That was for me. I've always loved food, so for me it was really challenging for me not to eat foods, although I used to try food suppression pills so that I would eat less. I tried all sorts of shakes so that I would eat less that were super processed, but I just didn't know. I felt very out of control. I tried all sorts of workouts. I tried all sorts of things throughout my teens and maybe into my 20s, but fortunately I started to recognize that it was a problem, and I started to feel concerned about it. I remember I went to the doctor my freshman year of college and mentioned what I was going through, and she recommended that I went to a nutritionist. And I went to the nutritionist, and the nutritionist realized that this was more of an emotional issue than like food-wise. The nutritionist didn't really help me. So I ended up going to a psychiatrist, and within a few sessions of talking to the psychiatrist, I kind of just snapped out of it. And I realized that I was doing a lot of damage to my body and it was unnecessary. And that was really helpful to me. But what was extremely helpful for me was when I discovered the vegan diet, the plant-based diet and lifestyle. And that was because I suddenly understood food and the way it reacted to my body. I realized that a huge problem I had was that I just didn't understand food. All I knew was like calories and fat, and every time I would just look at a label and see how many calories and fat it had. That was how I really decided if I was going to eat something. But I also would feel very out of control with food because I love food so much, and I love things like sugar and fatty foods and all this junk food and stuff like that. It felt incredibly out of control, so that's where the binging and purging would come in. I would eat, I don't know if I would necessarily binge eat, but I would eat a lot of foods, feel guilty, and I would purge it. And I didn't understand it. The benefit of the vegan diet for me was that I started to understand where my food came from, how it was made, and that opened up my eyes to a lot of things. And I also, because at the time, 10 years ago, I was much more limited with foods, I started losing weight because I wasn't eating all the processed junk food that wasn't vegan. There wasn't a ton of vegan junk food back 10 years ago. I mean, there was a little, but it was either out of my price range or it wasn't accessible to me. So I was eating super clean, and that was great. So suddenly I felt like I understood food and how my body reacted to it. And I definitely don't recommend the vegan lifestyle as a diet to lose weight, but it does have that benefit because you can connect with your food on a different level. You can read all these incredible books that really explain where your food comes from, that helps you understand how it's made on all different levels. And that's how I started to understand my diet from a health perspective, and I got really passionate about it. So it really was kind of just an extra benefit of the vegan diet that I lost weight, but it was the biggest benefit was that I understood my food on a different level. So, you know, for me, it's still been an ongoing, I don't like to use the word struggle anymore, but it's been an ongoing journey. I throughout the years started to realize that I have sensitivities to gluten and soy and corn and various nuts and legumes, and I started to realize that my body is really impacted by those foods. So not only how I feel, but how I look. So understanding food sensitivities was another important thing for me. I've also come across all sorts of really great resources, and something else I'm going to put up in the Google Plus showcase right now is a article I posted recently called Eat Smarter, Don't Diet Harder, The Best Way to Lose Weight. And this is a little summary of some of the articles I've come across recently that talk about natural ways or ways that we can eat that impact our weight. And for me, I think that looking at food as a way to get healthy and to get to your ideal weight is really important, instead of looking at getting to some ideal that everybody else has and forcing your body to look some way that it's not really meant to look or easily will be able to look. That to me is a much healthier mindset. And this article was really nice to put together because it talked about certain foods that help us, certain clean eating foods. So things like onions, curry, coconut milk, proteins and alkalizing vegetables, wild rice, chia seeds, apricots, oatmeal, broccoli, almonds. These are all incredible foods that you can eat that are going to nourish your body, help clean you out, anything that's sitting in there that shouldn't be, and help your body get to that place where it is most ideal. So instead of thinking as what can't I eat, what shouldn't I eat, or what foods are going to help me lose weight, it's like, what foods can I eat that it's going to keep my body in harmony? And I love this perspective. It goes much more in detail in this article that I posted there. And another resource that I really loved is a book called Stop the Torment. And it's all about conquering your relationships with food. So this book goes into uncovering the triggers of what keeps people yo-yo dieting. So people that keep trying one thing and they lose a little bit of weight and then they gain it back and they try something else, and it's like this endless cycle, right? This book also goes into how to stop the inner food debate. So focusing all the time about how much to eat and what to eat, and that intense stress that we carry when we're always thinking about foods connected to our weight loss. This book also talks about recognizing eating behaviors when you're on an emotional merry-go-round, and how to digest and metabolize food by learning how to trust your body's physical hunger. This is a book that I really wish I had read when I was 16, because I think that it would have helped me understand my body and my emotions connected to my body in a whole new way. And I really, really recommend it. It's under $5 on Amazon, so you can click through the link and it'll take you right to that. I just can't recommend this book enough. I think that it would really, really help you. I also wanted, the article that I linked to has a few other points to it as well, and a whole playlist of videos in which I've talked about my personal experiences with weight loss in a healthy way. I wanted to direct you to two more books. I think for me, again, when I first went vegan, reading, and to this day still is, but especially when I first went vegan and I first was trying to understand my body, reading as many books as possible was really important for me. So two other books I would recommend. An upcoming book that's coming out in September is by Talia Furman. She's the daughter of Joel Furman, who's very well known in the vegan world. He's a doctor. She is coming out with a book called Love Your Body, and I think that this is such a phenomenal resource. It really is written for younger women, although I think people of all ages will benefit from them. The line is, eat smart, get healthy, find your ideal weight, and feel better, beautiful inside and out. And Talia goes really into depth about all these important parts of our bodies. So she talks about loving your body and how that begins on the inside, the importance of friendship, letting go of body hang-ups and feeling like hot stuff forever, nutrition basics, how to get radiant, healthy, blemish-free skin, power up your brain, how healthy fat makes you thin, the skinny on nature's candy, aka things like fruit, the 3 most misunderstood foods, and the valuable truth, crazy nutrition tips, myths busted. And lastly, saving the world by eating right, which is more like an environmental, planetary perspective. So this book is something you need to put on your list. If you can pre-order it on Amazon, go do it. I will link to this down below. Daiya is amazing. She's young, she's smart, she's such a positive role model. I would say this might be my #1 recommendation for anybody that's young, new to veganism, and wanting to understand their body. I really wish I had that when I was younger. And the other one is Glow. This is a self-published book written by Carly Katz, and I've featured Carly on my website. In fact, I will pull that up for you right now for you to check out. She has a phenomenal story, and Carly is a really great inspiration because she lost a lot of weight. This book is all about her long journey through losing weight. She was incredibly overweight, and she was able to slim majorly down through the plant-based diet and all through whole foods. Carly goes into depth about all the different crazy diets she tried and all the emotions she had around it. It's really kind of like a memoir style, and I think such a wonderful book that many women and men can relate to. 2 more great resources is there's Benji. Benji is this amazing man who recently came into the Eco-Vegan Gal community, and he has been spreading his weight loss story. It is so remarkable. He was just on CNN. He's on all these TV shows now talking about how he lost, I think, over 100 pounds on a whole foods plant-based diet. So if you're in a position where you're really obese, where it's not like you think that you're heavy, but you actually are maybe 100 pounds or so heavier than you really is healthy for you, those 2 people are really, really inspiring from that perspective. But I got the feeling from this girl who wrote this that it was more of an internal struggle and not feeling like she fit the ideal, and that was where I was at. I've never been obese. I've just had troubles throughout my life feeling comfortable in my skin. And the very last resource I will give you, I have lots on this topic because it's such a close one to my heart, is Jenna Hamshaw from Choosing Raw. And Jenna came to the vegan diet through an eating disorder as well. She talks a lot about this on her website, which I'm linking in the Google Plus showcase right now. And she just came out with an incredible book called Choosing Raw, which I'm actually going to bring her on as a guest sometime soon to talk all about this. She's incredible, so stay tuned for that. I really can't wait to introduce anyone who's new to her, and I just encourage everybody to go check her out. Check out her book, check out her website. She really approaches food from a fantastic place, as do all these people. Everyone that I've mentioned is approaching the plant-based diet and weight loss from a really healthy place, and I think that is so important. Learning how food works for your body and learning how to get to that right emotional state is what is going to prevent an eating disorder, help you recover from an eating disorder, and just help people stay in the best emotional place possible despite the bombardment of all these beauty standards that we have. So I hope that that is helpful to the girl who wrote that as well as everyone else watching. And as usual, anybody that has perspectives on this topic and anything that I've talked about today, please chime in. And if you have more resources that you would like to share, I would love to hear them. All right, let's turn things over to you now and get some of your live questions. Check out over... I have one live question that is going to be deleted because it is well beyond spam. I don't know how these people are finding me. The last two... The last 2 Q&As have attracted some interesting comments lately, but that looks like it's the only one. So I'm going to give a few moments here for anyone else who wants to jump in. You can ask your questions, by the way, at any point during the Q&A, and I will just see them after the fact. And wow, that was so fast. Somebody just wrote in here. Let's check it out. Again, I want to remind everyone, google.com/+EcoVeganGal. Just click on the live Q&A link. You can do this on your computer or a mobile device. So this question here. So Chandel asked, I was looking at Daiya cheese, and it just seemed to have so many chemicals and extra ingredients. Are there specific reasons for these extra ingredients in the cheese? I want to get away from dairy, but I also do not want to put more chemicals in my body. Well, I don't remember off the top of my head exactly what's in Daiya. Let's take a look. Go to Daiya's website. I don't know if I would call them, well, I guess you might call them chemicals. The word chemicals, I feel like, is a very vague term, right? And there's so many things in our lives that are naturally chemicals, right? So there's a difference between synthetic chemicals and natural chemicals, and there's a difference between harsh chemicals versus chemicals that are beneficial. But I think that you're talking about more of the processed foods here. So let me see. Let's look quickly. I'm not a nutritionist nor a scientist, so off the top of my head, I might not have the answers here. But let's take a look at the shreds. The shreds have been around for a long time, and this is what. Oh, here we are. So in Daiya, they start with filtered water, tapioca and/or arrowroot flours, which are good, non-GMO canola and/or non-GMO safflower oil. So oils, coconut water as well. So they have 2 or 3 different types of oils in them. Pea protein, which is really good for you. Salt. Vegan natural flavors. Don't know exactly what that is, but it's probably okay. It's vegan. Inactive yeast tends to be okay unless you have a yeast sensitivity. Vegetable glycerin is good. Xanthan gum is good for you in moderation. Citric acid is for flavor. Citric acid can come from citrus and generally is seemed to be okay. And titanium dioxide is a naturally occurring mineral. Let's look that one up real quick because I don't know much about it. Okay. One of my favorite resources for things like this is Environmental Working Group, and you can look up almost any ingredient. It's mainly for cosmetics, but let's see if okay, so titanium dioxide in cosmetics can be a possible human carcinogen, and but there's limited evidence of that, and they are rated with a 1 to a 3 depending on usage. So I don't know. That one's a little bit, let's see here. It's often used in sunscreens and things like that. I'd have to look further into that, and I can talk to Daiya about it as well if you would like to know more specific about that. Because seeing that citric acid and titanium dioxide are the last 2 ingredients, they're probably used very minimally. Maybe they're used as stabilizers or preservatives. But in general, I think Daiya is pretty clean. I mean, yeah, they use a lot of oil and some salt and some yeast, but overall, compared to a lot of processed foods, I think that they're pretty clean. And that's just the shreds. They also have wedges and slices and cream cheeses and pizzas. So Daiya, as I did allude to when I was talking about cheeses earlier, is a little on the more processed side, right? To me, it's like, what's important to you? Do you want the taste and the texture and the meltiness of it? If so, Daiya is one of the cheeses that really nails that the most. If you're going more for a health standpoint, you're not necessarily using it on like a pizza or something. The cashew cheeses are great because they tend to have a few ingredients that you can recognize. They're really easy to make yourself. And, I think it's great to look further into the ingredients and understand them more, and also have it in moderation. I have Daiya, I don't know, a few times a year. It's really, before when it first came out, I used to have it all the time. I put it on so many dishes, and as I mentioned before, it helped me to get creative. Now I don't really think about cheese, even vegan cheese, on my meals. I might put a little nutritional yeast to make my food taste a little cheesy, but cheese isn't like a big staple. It's rarely in my fridge. So now that I've turned away from it, and mainly not turned away from it, but having it in masses, but only have it every once in a while, I feel like my body is doing really well, and I'm not absorbing any of those potentially unhealthy additives that they might use. I hope that answers your question. All right, lots of questions coming in now. Thank you, everyone, for jumping in. Next question comes from Pippi, who asked, any tips on what I can do to combat hormonal cluster headaches I naturally get sometimes during my menstrual cycle? I cannot take standard ibuprofen. Okay, well, Menstrual cycle, yes, there are some really great products out there. There's one that I take that's on my shelf, and I can't remember the name, but if you remind me, I will send you a link to it. It helps with PMS and various things like cramps and headaches and all that, and it's just a herbal formation. And there are lots of things like that available at natural markets. So I would encourage you to go there. You can talk to people at the natural markets to find that. But I would also say there's a chance it could be a dietary thing. I'm reading a phenomenal book right now that I cannot wait to review and share with all of you. It's all about allergies. And this allergist has spent 10 years of her life studying all of these things. I'm realizing how certain foods cause allergic-like reactions in our bodies. So even if we don't realize it, we might have sensitivities to certain foods. So headaches can be a huge indication of some sort of sensitivity, allergic reaction to certain foods. It can also be that you're not getting enough of something, you're not getting enough sleep, you're stressed out. I would start to think about headaches and the hormonal changes that you're going through, and think about how you can heal it with food and different lifestyle changes. As women, our bodies go through this big shift during our cycles, and I often find that the cleaner my diet and the healthier I am from an emotional standpoint and making sure I get enough sleep, the better my cycle is. I sometimes get really bad cramps, but I've started to notice a connection between having too much sugar right before my cycle or having too much salt or processed foods. So it's really just trying to figure out how your body reacts and what you can do to minimize that. Drinking plenty of water, making sure that you're hydrated, all of that. So I would do a little bit more research, and I would look for some herbal formulations that can help support you. And I bet you that there's a really simple solution that can make you feel so much better. Thank you for asking that. All right, let's see here. Catherine asked a two-part question. Catherine, I've been looking for vegan boots that I can use for hiking, yard work, farm work, etc. Do you have any recommendations on where to find some? Not having any luck. All I can find are rubber types. I have vegan boots, but I do not feel comfortable. Oh, I have old boots before I went vegan, and I don't feel comfortable wearing them. And also, she asked also how to find the best dentist as a vegan. So for boots, I think that you might have asked this question earlier, Catherine, and I put it on my to-research list because I don't know off the top of my head. So I would love anybody else to chime in if you have. Sorry, I got distracted for a second. If you know any great vegan boots for working, I would say just some rubber boots. There's one company. My mother and my sister are horse riders, and they both. My mom has a horse farm and works with horses a lot, so they're always like mucking stalls, and they live in Massachusetts, so it's winter. They have these rubber boots that they're obsessed with, and I think that they're vegan. I think they're just like called wellies or something like that, and they're really durable. I would look into that, or I can look into it for you, and you might want to look into it in the meantime, Catherine. I think that they're just called wellies. And they're just rubber boots. Let me see. I'll look it up right now. Wellies boots. They're based in, yeah, okay. What are these? Or hunter boots. That's it. Hunter boots. What are these made from? They're very chic, right? And of course, they're kind of like the name brand. So you don't necessarily have to go with these. But I don't think that there's any leather. Let's see here. Natural rubber. That's all. And they have a nylon lining. I would look more into the brand to make sure that they're ethical for you, but they're really nice looking. They're very trendy for a little while. I don't know if they still are, but you know, you would see people in the city wearing them. Here, I'll put them over in the showcase for you. And they're definitely pricey because they're very well made, and again, they're trendy and well styled and all of that. But I would check those out. Those are great for the winter. They're great for rain. They're great for dirt, you know, if yard work, farm work, all of that stuff, and they look really nice too. There are lots of other brands. I have a pair. Let me grab mine real quick. I'll link to this in the description field. These aren't hunter boots. These are from a company called Jambu, and you can get these at all different places. they're not designed to be waterproof, if I can remember. Sometimes when I wear them, they do get a little moisture in them, but they've got the rubber outside and really durable soles. They're made for like outdoorsy stuff. I just don't know if they're ideal for wet environments, but definitely for farm work, yard work, lots of dirt around you for whatever occasion you're in. I really like these. I love the way they look. I do wear these when it's raining outside, but stepping in puddles, sometimes I think it might come in the back because it's got this mesh. So as long as the puddle doesn't get up much higher, these are very solid. I'll put these in the description field for you to check out. And if anybody else has any recommendations, let me and Catherine know in the description field. In terms of finding a dentist, I just found my dentist because when I was in San Francisco, she was at a green festival, and I think I did some research, and she's the only dentist I want to go to, so anytime I make a trip to San Francisco, I make an appointment with this dentist up there. But there's some great holistic dentists. I would start there. I would just do some research in your area for holistic dentists. There usually are some in every major city, and then just find out if they're going to be respectful and knowledgeable about the vegan lifestyle. You don't really need a super knowledgeable vegan dentist or anything, but you could also search for a vegan dentist. I bet you they're a little bit on the rare side. I think just going for like a naturally minded, eco-minded, holistically minded, natural-minded dentist, you'll probably find one that suits you. All right. And Catherine says she's going to be volunteering at a horse farm, so she would need them for that, so that's great. Yeah, I'm telling you, the hunter boots, they are all the rage in the horse community, and my sister and my mother can attest to that. But I think Jambu is cool because I definitely know that they're vegan, so that's a good option. Okay, next question. Susanna asked, are coconut aminos healthier than soy sauce? How about Bragg's aminos? I know you avoid soy, but other than that soy standpoint, what makes soy sauce bad for you? Thank you. All right, well, I don't have a ton of knowledge on this, but I definitely have tried all sorts of different soy sauces and tamari and Bragg's aminos and coconut aminos. Generally, soy sauces tend to be made with GMO soy, so you really want to make sure that your aminos or sauces are organic, certified organic, which means they're non-GMO, or non-GMO. Sometimes they'll say made with organic ingredients, and that does not guarantee that everything is non-GMO, to clarify there. So first of all, that's important. Soy, get non-GMO. Secondly, a lot of soy sauces will have tons of salt and maybe some other stuff in it, preservatives. Those are no good. Bragg's aminos is beloved in the health community, so they're a solid choice if you're okay with soy. Tamari is generally solid. I feel like there is what is the other thing that I was thinking? There's something else that is used in the raw world. I don't think it's tamari or Bragg's. Someone help me out here if I'm blanking on this. But coconut aminos are made from organic coconuts, and they tend to be really solid. I don't know if I have any right now, but I often use that. It doesn't taste exactly like soy sauce, but it's pretty close. So you can use it in recipes, and it works really well. It's adding a little bit more salt and body to your food. So I think as long as it doesn't have a ton of ingredients and preservatives and it's organic and not too much sodium in it, then soy sauce, aminos, tamari, and coconut aminos are really solid. So check them out and see what works best for you and your preferences. Okay. Christina asked, when I'm shopping and looking for dairy alternatives, I sometimes get confused with hidden ingredients that actually turn out to be dairy. Would you be able to mention some of those hidden dairy words? Ooh, this is like a quiz here. Okay. Yeah, well, the number two ingredients to look for are casein and whey. And there'll often be products that say that they're milk-free, but they're not completely, or some might even say dairy-free, but they have those ingredients. I can't remember if you can get away with calling it dairy-free and still having those additives in them. But yes, casein is the big one. Whey sometimes you'll see as well. There are a few others. I don't remember them off the top of my head. If you just look up, or let's just look it up together. Okay, so vegan, dairy, what's the word? Additives, maybe? Or hidden, let's say hidden dairy. Foods with hidden dairy products. There you go. Okay. So yes, whey protein isolates, non-fat milk non-fat milk powder, casein. What else? Butter fat. That's sometimes you'll see that. Yeah, those are basically. I would say. Oh, also lactalbumin. I rarely see that, but anything that says lactose, that's usually a dairy derivative as well. Let's see if there's any others that we can find. I mean, really, you just want to look for a product that says vegan, and if it seems like it might be vegan, but you're not sure, trying to avoid things like that. Actually, here's a great list right here. There's a good list from godairyfree.org, and I will put this on the Google Plus showcase for you to check out, and also link to this as well. This is a long list for you to check out. This is very handy. And the list includes so many more ingredients that I could possibly mention. So a lot of them are similar, though. You know, there's a bunch that have the word butter before it. So butter, buttermilk, casein, caseinate. So they're similar words. Whey, that's often a few different ways to say it. Different milk powders. Anytime you see the word milk, what else in here? Like I said, lacta, L-A-C-T-A or L-A-C-T, followed by the rest of the word. That's usually dairy-based. And whey, yes. So yeah, they're all basically different ways of saying the same thing. So don't look for products that have milk, butter, casein, lact something, and casein. And if you look for ingredients that contain any of those words or parts of those words, those are the products that you should be avoiding. Okay, so Alexander asked, I've been asked before why I don't eat honey, and I don't really know what to tell people. Is honey really not good for you? I believe I talked about this in another Q&A, and I also have a video that has been sitting in my editing queue for years now, which talked all about it. I have a lot of videos that need to be edited. So I apologize, Alexander. I just can't remember off the top of my head if I have talked about this before, but I believe I have, so I'll link to that for you for more details. But in short, honey is not considered vegan because it's still coming from a living creature. I guess some people like to have different definitions for what they consider living, right? Of course, all plants are living, and we eat those, but bees are a little bit different, right? They can feel things, and they colonize, and they have a lot of traits and emotional aspects to them, so it's different from plants in that sense, but I'm not going to get into that debate. I personally think that bee products are not vegan, and that's a very commonly held belief in the vegan community, although some people like to call themselves vegans, or some vegans just choose to eat honey or various bee products. It really comes down to a personal choice and an ethical choice in that standpoint. The short story there is that most honey is coming from kind of like a factory farm style setting where, you know, bees are abused and they go through, you know, all these harsh treatments to get the honey, and they're collected just for that, on and on. There's lots of research out there, and I would encourage you to look further into that and decide if you're comfortable with that. But you can also get honey from very small farms. You can have your own honey operation in your backyard if you would like. There are some ways to get honey from a more gentle, ethical, careful standpoint, or like a local farm or something like that. If you're comfortable with having honey, those are a better option, I believe, because they're really being taken care of, and beekeepers will often take really good care of their bees in those situations. From a health standpoint, a lot of people think honey is healthy. There has some various health benefits, some vitamins and minerals to it. Some people use honeys to combat allergies because of various properties that it has, and coming from local plants and all of that. But it's still sugar, and I personally believe that there are just honey alternatives out there, so I have no need to have honey. There's this great brand called Bee Free Honey, and looks and tastes so much like honey because it's made from apples. And there's lots of other liquid sweeteners that you can get that have very similar consistency and taste to honey. So with that said, I just don't think honey is necessary. I don't need it from a health standpoint, and I don't feel comfortable having honey based on the way that the bees are treated. So it really just comes down to what your comfort level is, Alexander, and doing a little bit of research to figure it out. And I will link to a video that I did. I'm almost positive I mentioned this in another Q&A. Okay. Pippi also asked, do you know if enzymes in food are from an animal or vegan sources? Does it just depend? I believe it does just depend. You always want to make sure that it says vegan or no animal products, no animal byproducts, cruelty-free, certain labels to look for. If you're talking about digestive enzymes, there are also enzymes used for things like laundry detergents, so you want to do a little bit of research to see what type of enzymes they're using. Are they using plant enzymes? I would say more often than not companies use plant enzymes, but you always want to double check. So thank you for asking that. Just read your labels. If it's not clear, you can go onto the website. Maybe they have it in their FAQ section, or you can reach out to the companies via email or phone just to double check. It never hurts to do that. Okay, and Pippi also mentioned that she takes cramp bark extract, and that's great for PMS and all of that. Your cramps can definitely benefit from certain herbs and from certain eating. And salt, as you mentioned, could be an issue, so I'm glad that you're going to explore that. All right, so those are the questions for today. I hope that you enjoyed today's Q&A. Thank you so much for participating with your comments and your questions. Again, I encourage you to continue the conversation on YouTube and SoundCloud by commenting to other people, interacting with them, helping me answer questions, giving more resources, expanding upon things. If you have any really great resources for weight loss in a healthy way or eating disorders, if you have great resources on why not to eat honey or boots, you know, to help me answer that question, what type of boots can you use for the winter or for outdoor activities? If you have resources for, what else do we talk about today? Your favorite cheeses. Is there a cheese that I didn't mention on my list? I would love to hear what cheeses you like, or your favorite cheese recipes, plant-based cheese recipes, and anything else you want to expand upon today. I love hearing from you. To wrap things up, you can find more information, as always, at ecovegangal.com and in the EcoVeganGal newsletter. The link will be in the description fields for you to check out. I would love to have you be part of that. There's also a couple upcoming things I wanted to let you know about. If you are interested in spreading your activism and your knowledge and your passion on YouTube, I'm going to be running a YouTube course with Kobe from Vegetorials all about how to make a phenomenal, impactful vegan YouTube channel. Not only that help you spread your message and reach more people, get more subscribers, get more eyes on this important message, but also we'll be talking about the business aspects of YouTube. And if you're looking to make it a career, we'll be talking all about that, how we have monetized our work, how we have reached more people, how we've expanded our brands through YouTube. YouTube is such an amazing platform, and I'm so excited to do this course. So if you want to learn more about that, the link will be in the description field for you to check out. I also have links to a virtual retreat, which is all of the videos from the Epic Living Retreat that happened this past June in Costa Rica. If you heard me talk about it and you were interested in it but unable to make it or didn't want to put your money towards that, you can now get all the videos from the retreat, including my eco workshops, raw food demos, yoga instructions, and Pilates instructions, all sorts of great information to help you feel and look your best. Those retreats are up on the website and also linked down below, and there's two packages to choose from. One is $47, super affordable, and one is $97, and you can download them and watch these videos and do it all at home. So it's a very affordable way to feel like you can participate in that retreat and get all of the information that is there to help you feel and look your best, as I mentioned. And that is it for today. If you like this video, please comment, join in the conversation, as I mentioned. Even if you don't have anything extra to add and just want to say something, I love hearing from you. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it, and please subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet, so you know when I do these Q&As and other videos come up. I also have links to my other channels, including What a Vegan Eats, as well as EcoVeganGal Uncensored channels, and a few of my other channels, so you can stay in touch with all the different aspects of eco-vegan living. And also, if you want to know when the next Q&A happens, you can I don't know what they call it on Google+. I don't think you like a page. I think you follow a page on Google+. You can follow the Eco-Vegan Gal Google+ page, and that always has the announcements for when the Q&As happen. And I also mention them on Facebook and Twitter, so check the links out down below for the Eco-Vegan Gal social networks. Those are there for us as a community. So you chiming in and being part of it is so important. Thank you so much for being here today. I'll look forward to seeing you next Saturday and reading all your comments. In the meantime, have a phenomenal weekend. I hope you have an amazing week to come. And till next time, see you later.